Chapter 45-34 I want to eat meat. Yang Chun Baishue straightened her back and said in a cold voice, "You have to do it even if you don't want to? What if I die?" Lu Zian was stunned at first, then he said viciously, "Die? Even if you die, you have to die as the crown prince's good wife." Lu Zian saw that Yang Chun Baishue had suffered a blow and said hypocritically, "Swear, what we said just now was just words of anger. Stay at home and prepare for marriage. When you get married, I will definitely treat you well." Seeing that Yang Chun Baishue was in a daze, the corners of his mouth curled up into a disdainful smile. He turned around and left. However, he suddenly shivered and felt a strong murderous intent. He turned his head and saw He Xinjiu lying on the wall of the courtyard. Lu Zian immediately showed a contemptuous look. He must have been hallucinating. It was impossible for this useless puppet to have such strong killing intent. He snorted coldly and left with his men. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes and looked at Lu Zian's back. It seemed that there were scumbags in all races and races. This Lu Zian was really a scumbag. He Xinjiu sighed for a while and floated down. She saw that Yang Chun Baishue was still in a daze, so she waved her claws at Yang Chun Baishue. Yang Chun Baishue finally came back to her senses. She ignored He Xinjiu and staggered into the courtyard to close the door. He Xinjiu, who was locked outside the door. "Hey, did you forget something? Your puppet is still outside." He Xinjiu curled her lips. Humph, since that was the case, she would go out for a stroll and take a stroll around the capital city of the demon race. Unfortunately, she did not walk far before she was pulled into the general's residence by a suction force. Only then did she remember that the puppet could not be too far away from the host. Very soon she saw Yang Chun Baishue, who was crying on the bed. This fellow rolled his eyes. What was the use of crying? Would crying make the emperor take back the imperial edict or that bullshit crown prince die? He Xinjiu held her chin and looked at Yang Chun Baishue, who was crying nonstop. She thought to herself, as expected of the Yang clan. Their crying skills were really amazing. So hungry, shouldn't it be time for dinner? This fellow was so hungry that it was unbearable. She tried to adjust the demonic power in her body. With great difficulty, she concentrated the demonic power on one finger and poked Yang Chun Baishue, who was crying nonstop. Yang Chun Baishue was stunned. She looked at He Xinjiu in disbelief. She was poked by a puppet just now. How was this possible? Didn't she not have a physical body? And she was sure that it was a finger that poked her, not the demonic power. How was this possible? Yun Chujio was not in the mood to pay attention to her surprise. Timao cook. Yang Chun Baishue? She used to have a mute slave by her side, so she could read lips. She immediately understood that Yun Chujio was talking about cooking. The puppet she summoned was not a puppet but a good-for-nothing, right? Also, whose puppet could speak. Although it did not make a sound, the mouth shape clearly indicated that she could speak. Yun Chujio saw that Yang Chun Baishue seemed to understand her mouth shape and immediately said excitedly, "Little meme, I want to eat meat. I want to eat meat." Yang Chun Baishue? What the hell was little meme? Chapter 45-35 Eating Chicken. He Xinjiu saw that Yang Chun Baishue was in a daze and immediately floated towards the kitchen. Yang Chun Baishue came back to her senses and quickly followed. However, after being interrupted by He Xinjiu, her originally sorrowful mood was somewhat alleviated. She began to wash the rice and cook while He Xinjiu floated outside the kitchen to play. This guy thought that it was actually quite good to be a puppet. He could play with food and drink. Yang Chun Baishue recalled that Yun Chujio said that she wanted to eat meat, but there were only vegetables and no meat in the kitchen. When she was at a loss, she heard the screams of a chicken coming from outside. She ran out and saw that her weird puppet was chasing after a chicken. As she was not familiar with her demonic power, she could not catch the chicken, but it was covered in feathers. When He Xinjiu saw Yang Chun Baishue, she immediately said excitedly, "Eat the chicken, eat the chicken, eat the chicken." Yang Chun Baishue looked at He Xinjiu speechlessly and had no choice but to catch the chicken and start to clean it up. There were also ordinary wild beasts in the demon territory. These beasts were similar to the beasts of the human world, and did not have the slightest bit of intelligence. Therefore, these demons did not feel any psychological pressure when they ate these wild beasts. Hei Shinjio stroked her chin as she watched Yangchun Baishue kill the chicken. She thought to herself that although little Meme liked to cry a little, it treated her puppet pretty well. It actually killed the chicken. Yangchun Baishue cleaned up the chicken and put it into the pot to stew. Hei Shinjio stared at it with her eyes wide open. She was so greedy that she could not stop. Yangchun Baishue was speechless when she saw her greedy look. Was she summoning a puppet or a good-for-nothing? When the chicken was cooked, Yangchun Baishue fed Hei Shinjio again. After Hei Shinjio had eaten her fill, she jumped back to Yangchun Baishue and fell asleep. Yangchun Baishue smiled bitterly. She was summoning an ancestor. She was in a bad mood and could not eat after eating half a bowl of rice. Hei Shinjio had a good sleep. When she walked out, she found Yangchun Baishue crying in the ancestral hall again. She could not help but roll her eyes. This little Meme was good at everything except crying. Stop crying. It's so annoying. Hei Shinjio said unhappily. Yangchun Baishue who was crying. Hei Shinjio saw that Yangchun Baishue was crying non-stop. It was as if Tang Sanzang was reciting the scriptures. She simply floated outside. It was better to be out of sight than out of mind. To her surprise, Yangchun Baishue also came out. She said while crying, "Do you also think that I'm useless? I can't do anything except cry." Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and said word by word, "You know how to cook." She thought for a moment and added sincerely, "It's quite delicious." Yangchun Baishue. However, after being teased by Hei Shinjio, her sadness was somewhat relieved. She sobbed and said, "I know that I'm useless, but my demon essence is different from others. I've tried my best to cultivate it to this level. I'm cultivating when others are resting, and I'm cultivating when others are playing. But even so, I'm still the weakest." Yangchun Baishue didn't expect Yun Chujio to comfort her. She just found a person to talk to and continued. "When father and mother were alive, none of them dared to bully me. Even though I was useless, they all fawned on me and flattered me. But after father and mother passed away, everything changed." Chapter 45-36. Where did the confidence come from? Hei Shinjio was not surprised by what Yangchun Baishue said at all. Human relationships were always cold and warm. Yangchun Baishue said self-mockingly, "I was blind in the past and thought that the crown prince had a sincere heart for me. However, ever since my parents passed away, I knew that he only took a fancy to my parents' power. The reason why he didn't let me go was because he suspected that my parents had left me some treasures and wanted to keep them for himself. Moreover, he could also leave a good reputation and give the sheep tribe an explanation." Yun Chujio nodded. Although the little Ba liked to cry, it was still clear-headed. "Then what do you plan to do?" "Tomorrow morning, I will go to meet the emperor and request the emperor to revoke the marriage. Even if I am punished, I will not become some crown prince's wife." Yun Chujio shook her head. "Since they have already planned it out, they will not revoke the marriage. Even so, I still want to give it a try. If worst comes to worst, I will just crash into the Golden Hall and die," Yangchun Baishue said firmly. "Little Meme, it's better to die than to stay alive." "Don't be a fool," Hei Shinjio advised. A trace of warmth welled up in Yangchun Baixu's heart. Although this puppet was a little weird, it still cared about her. "It doesn't matter if you die. Who will cook for me? Besides, if you die, will I die as well? I haven't lived long enough. You are not allowed to die," Hei Shinjio said fiercely. Yangchun Baishue. "Little Meme, your parents definitely don't want you to die like this. If you commit suicide, would it be worth it to them? Isn't it just an engagement? What's so difficult about it? Don't worry, as long as I'm here, no one will dare to make things difficult for you," Hei Shinjio said confidently. Yangchun Baishue looked at Hei Shinjio speechlessly. Where did this good-for-nothing puppet get his confidence from? However, Yun Chujio's words had touched her. She could not die just like that. Otherwise, she would not have the face to meet her parents. Yangchun Baishue listened to Hei Xinjia's boisterous words and her mouth opened wide in surprise. Could this work? However, she was at a loss and could only try her best. The next morning, Yang Chun Baishue waited on the puppet ancestor for breakfast before bringing Hei Shinjio out of the general's residence. Hei Shinjio looked around as she floated. She was amazed. The imperial city of the demon race was quite prosperous. It was really strange that there were no records of such a large demon realm in the outside world. When they were about to reach the imperial palace, Hei Shinjio jumped into Yang Chun Baixu's brows under her pleas. Anyway, she could see and hear everything with her spiritual sense, so they could just go in. Yang Chun Baishue took a deep breath. She had always lived as if she was treading on thin ice. She did not dare to take even half a step. However, today, for the sake of her parents' face and the dignity of the Yangs, she was willing to risk everything. When the imperial guards saw Yang Chun Baishue step forward to stop her, Yang Chun Baishue sneered, "The imperial edict in my hand is the retired emperor's. Who dares to stop me?" When the imperial guards saw the imperial edict in Yang Chun Baixu's hand, they immediately did not dare to come any closer. They even knelt on the ground. Yang Chun Baishue straightened her back and held the imperial edict as she walked step by step into the throne room. She was glad that the good-for-nothing puppet had given her the idea. Otherwise, she would have been chased away by someone with an excuse if she could not even enter the throne room. There was an early morning court today. Yang Chun Baishue felt a lot of pity, schadenfreude, or cold gazes the moment she walked into the throne room. Chapter 45-37 Face the Emperor. Although those ministers had seen the decree given by the retired emperor in Yang Chun Baixu's hands, they didn't kneel down. They were different from those imperial guards. The emperor was a minister, and the retired emperor had passed away. They were loyal to the current emperor, so they naturally didn't have so many scruples. Yang Chun Baishue walked to the place where the audience was and stopped. "Your Majesty, I have the imperial edict of the retired emperor, so it is not convenient for me to bow to you." "Your Majesty, please do not blame me," Yang Chun Baishue said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Although Yang Chun Baishue looked very calm on the surface, her legs were actually trembling. Could that good-for-nothing puppet's rotten idea work? The emperor would not directly condemn her, right? Emperor Kong Xiao, who was on the dragon throne, frowned. This Yang Chun Baishue had always been very timid. Today, she actually had the audacity to come here with the imperial edict of the retired emperor. What did she want to do? Could it be that she wanted to force him to make her the crown prince's consort again? What wishful thinking! Although Emperor Kong Xiao was displeased, he still looked amiable on the surface. "Little Shuer, you came here today to thank me, right? I know all your intentions. You can leave now." Hei Shinjio curled her lips. This Emperor Kong Xiao was indeed cunning, much more cunning than his White Lotus Sun Duan. Yang Chun Baishue thought of Yun Chujia's plan and did not say a word. She just sobbed. She was already sad, so naturally, she cried her heart out. Some of the ministers had already expressed their sympathy for her situation, but now that they saw her crying so sadly, the sympathy on their faces grew even stronger. Yang Chun Baishue avoided Lu Xian's outstretched hand and sobbed as she said, "Your Majesty, I know that my demonic power is too low to be a match for the crown prince, so I implore your Majesty to take back your order and reward me with free marriage in the future." Emperor Kong Xiao's face immediately darkened. "Little Shuer, are you blaming me for changing you from the crown prince's wife to the crown prince's wife? The crown prince's wife will be the mother of a country in the future. Your demonic power is so weak, and your puppet is a human. I had no choice but to change my position as the crown prince's wife. However, on account of the fact that you have no one to rely on, I have made you the crown prince's wife. What are you still unhappy about?" If it was in the past, Yang Chun Baishue would probably not be able to say anything as she was intimidated by Emperor Kong Xiao's pressure. But when she thought of her parents' face, the dignity of the Yang clan, and the words that Yun Chujio had told her, she clenched her fists tightly and said, "Your Majesty, I dare not have any dissatisfaction. I also know your good intentions. But I know that I am not worthy of the crown prince, and I am not willing to drag the crown prince down. Please take back your orders." If it were not for Yun Chujia's instructions, Yang Chun Baixue would definitely say something about the Yang family's ancestral teachings that the Yang family's daughters would never be concubines. If that was the case, Emperor Kang Xiao would be labeled as having a country greater than his family and a ruler greater than his subjects. Yang Chun Baixue would be rendered speechless. However, she was using the fact that she was not worthy of the crown prince as an excuse. Emperor Kang Xiao could not slap his own face and insist that Yang Chun Baixue was worthy of the crown prince. Emperor Kang Xiao did not know what to do at the moment. He was naturally unwilling to cancel the marriage. However, Yang Chun Baixue was holding the imperial edict of the retired emperor and was a loyal subject. It was not appropriate for him to turn hostile. Chapter 45-38 Demon Heaven Bell Emperor Kang Xiao was in a difficult position when Prime Minister Tu, who was also Tu Meyer's father, bowed and said, "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say." Emperor Kang Xiao nodded. "Your Majesty, although what Yang Chun Baixue said is true, she is not worthy of the crown prince, but you are a gold-tongued jade, words naturally cannot be so revoked. Why not let her hit the demon sky bell? If she can make it ring, then agree to her request. If she can't make it ring, then she has nothing to say." A trace of viciousness flashed in Prime Minister Tu's eyes. This Yang Chun Baixue would be a disaster sooner or later. Taking the opportunity to kill her would save her trouble in the future. When the ministers heard Prime Minister Tu's words, they immediately exploded. They began to discuss in low voices, "What a joke! Hit the demon sky bell? Let's not talk about whether it will ring or not. The pressure of the demon sky bell alone is not something that Yang Chun Baixue can withstand. If the demon sky bell doesn't ring, her life will be in danger. Prime Minister Tu's method is really tsk. I reckon that Yang Chun Baixue would definitely not dare to agree. After all, throughout history, no one has been able to ring the demon sky bell." Although the various ministers were discussing animatedly, due to Prime Minister Tu's authority, many of them stopped mid-sentence. Some only shook their heads repeatedly. Although they sympathized with Yang Chun Baixue, they did not dare to say anything more. They were all certain that Yang Chun Baixue would not agree to the demon sky bell because that would be akin to sending herself to her death. Emperor Kang Xiao's eyes lit up as he looked at Prime Minister Tu with appreciation and said, "Prime Minister Tu is right. Little Schwer, you can either agree to the demon sky bell or go back and prepare for marriage. If you say anything more, don't blame me for not showing you any mercy." Hei Xinjiu had a bad feeling when she heard about the demon sky bell. Would little Meme be stupid? However, before she could think of a way to stop it, she heard Yang Chun Baixue say firmly, "I am willing to go and hit the demon sky bell." Hei Xinjiu was so angry that she started to twitch. This idiot. Didn't he tell her that if there was something she could not solve, she would cry and faint? Why did he agree to it? It was infuriating. Emperor Kang Xiao and the civil and military officials were stunned. They had never thought that Yang Chun Baixue would really be willing to hit the demon sky bell. Was she willing to die rather than marry the crown prince and become his wife? Some people thought that Yang Chun Baixue was too stupid, extremely stupid. Some people thought that Yang Chun Baixue was indeed worthy of being the descendant of the Yang family. Although she was weak, she still had her pride. Emperor Kang Xiao frowned. "Little Schwer, you have to know that the demon sky bell's pressure is extremely strong, and your monster power is very low. If you are not careful, your little life will be lost there. Are you really willing to hit the demon sky bell?" "I am willing," said Yang Chun Baixue slowly. Even if there was a slight chance of winning, she would still give it a try. Besides, even if she died, it would be better than being humiliated by marrying the crown prince. Hei Xinjiu was so angry that she wanted to rush out and give Yang Chun Baixue a good beating. However, this fellow knew that she was just a small piece of trash now. If she were to rush out recklessly, her little life would be in danger. Therefore, no matter how angry she was, she could only endure it. When she returned to the general's residence, she would definitely give this little Meme a good scolding. Seeing that Yang Chun Baixue had made up her mind, Emperor Kang Xiao pretended to sigh. "Little Schwer, since you have already made up your mind, it is not my place to say anything more. Then you should go back and prepare." 3 days later, I will order someone to open the enchantment of the demon heaven bell and let you go in and crash into it. Chapter 45-39 Continued to eat chicken. Emperor Kong Shao paused for a moment and continued, if you can ring the demon sky bell, your engagement with the crown prince will be nullified. In the future, you can marry freely and no one is allowed to interfere. But if you can't ring the demon sky bell, then you should properly prepare for marriage in the general's residence. Do you understand? I understand. Thank you for your kindness, master. Yang Chun Baishue straightened her back and said, Emperor Kong Shao waved his hand, signaling for Yang Chun Baishue to leave. Although Yang Chun Baixu's death was a little troublesome, they hadn't found any clues left behind by her parents after so many years. They probably didn't leave anything behind. As for the Yang clan, they had always been good-for-nothings. There was nothing to be afraid of. Yang Chun Baishue exited the throne room and returned to the general's residence in a daze. The moment she entered the general's residence, He Xinjiu floated out and scolded Yang Chun Baishue. Little meme, are you stupid? What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you to cry if something unexpected happened? If it really doesn't work out, just pretend to faint and wait for us to come up with a countermeasure before going to face the emperor. Is your brain a pig's brain? Although Yang Chun Baishue knew how to read lips, He Xinjiu was scolding her very quickly. She did not really understand it, but she knew that He Xinjiu was scolding her. She laughed bitterly. I know you hate me, but you've seen it for yourself. I'm just an orphan girl with no support. How can I fight against the royal family and the Tu family? If the demon ancestor has eyes, let me ring the demon sky bell and everything will be settled. If I can't ring the demon sky bell, let the world see their ugly faces. I've also gone to see my parents for nothing. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. If this little meme was not her host, she would not have bothered with such a blockhead. She deserved to die. She did not know how to be flexible at all. It was better to ask for help than to beg for help from others. If she placed her hopes on the illusory demon ancestor, how could she have the freedom to control her own fate? In a fit of anger, He Xinjiu floated proudly into the chicken coop and began to catch chickens. Yang Chun Baishue thought that He Xinjiu would definitely complain endlessly, but who would have thought that this fellow would actually go and catch chickens? She asked in confusion, what are you going to do? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Kill chickens. The chicken you stewed yesterday was quite delicious. Anyway, it's going to die, so why don't you let me be a satiated ghost? Yang Chun Baishue was speechless when she saw Yun Chujio chasing the chickens around the chicken coop. These days were really terrible. 2 hours later, He Xinjiu, who was full, glanced at Yang Chun Baishue. Tell me about the demon sky bell. Maybe I can help you bang it. After all, there are still quite a few chickens left in the chicken coop. If you die like this, who will cook the chicken for me? Yang Chun Baishue sighed. She had no confidence in her good-for-nothing puppet at all. But when she thought that she was going to lose her life because of her, she said patiently, it is said that the demon sky bell is a treasure left by the demon ancestor. No one can move it and no one can ring it. Moreover, it will emit a terrifying pressure. Therefore, it has always been blocked by the barrier. If anyone wants to disobey the holy order, they can ring the demon sky bell on their own request. However, until now, no one has been able to ring the demon sky bell. Chapter 45-40. The right hand condensed into a solid form. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up when she heard Yang Chun Baixu's words. She said sneakily, then if I help you ring the demon sky bell, does that mean that the demon sky bell belongs to me? Yang Chun Baishue stared at Yun Chujio with her mouth agape. She even suspected that she had misunderstood her lip language. Was there something wrong with this good-for-nothing puppet's brain? Putting aside the fact that it was just a good-for-nothing puppet that couldn't help her ring the demon sky bell, even if it did ring, the demon sky bell wouldn't recognize a puppet as its master. Moreover, the demon sky bell was a treasure left behind by the demon ancestor. No one could make it recognize its master. Yang Chun Baishue sighed. You're thinking too much. Even if I could ring the demon sky bell wouldn't recognize me as its master, much less recognize a puppet like you as its master. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Don't make it sound so absolute. Maybe the demon Skybell will shamelessly acknowledge me as its master when it sees that I'm so good-looking. Yangchun Baishue looked at He Xinjia's pitch-black face speechlessly. Such an honor did not have anything to do with good-looking. Seeing that Yangchun Baishue did not say anything, He Xinjio blinked her eyes and said, "Come on, let's go and read some books. The storybooks of your demon race are quite nice. But can you help me buy some of those storybooks where a woman marries 8 men?" Yangchun Baishue staggered and almost fell to the ground. Her face turned red instantly. You, how can you read those storybooks? Yun Chujio was very interested. From what you mean, there really are those storybooks? Come on, let's go and buy a few hundred of them. Yangchun Baishue naturally would not listen to He Xinjio. She ignored her and entered the study. Little meme, I'm your blood puppet. Want your conscience hurt if you treat me like this? Little meme, I'm about to lose my little life because of you. Can't you fulfill one of my dying wishes? Yangchun Baishue decided not to look at He Xinjio. Since He Xinjio could not make a sound, it was better for her not to see it. Seeing that Yangchun Baishue ignored her, He Xinjio was furious. In a moment of desperation, she poured her demonic energy into her right hand and knocked the book out of Yangchun Baixu's hand. Both Yangchun Baishue and He Xinjio were stunned. He Xinjio looked at her right hand. For a moment, her right hand seemed to have condensed into a solid body. Yangchun Baishue stood up in excitement. Did your right hand just condense into a solid body? Previously, when one of your fingers condensed into a solid body, I thought it was an illusion. But now, it seems that in time, you will definitely be able to cultivate into a solid body. He Xinjio was also a little excited, but she still rolled her eyes and said, even if what you said is true, what's the use? If you die, I probably won't be able to live. You heartless person, why didn't you buy me a script? I'm so pitiful. Yangchun Baishue looked speechlessly at He Xinjio, who was acting shamelessly. She was pitiful? With such a demon puppet, she, the host, was the pitiful one. Yangchun Baishue sighed. Alright, I'll bring you to the conversation bookshop. But let's make a deal first. When the time comes, you'll stay in my sea of consciousness and not come out to cause trouble. He Xinjio nodded repeatedly. Little meme, don't worry. I'll definitely be obedient. After saying that, He Xinjio drilled into Yangchun Baixu's glabella, acting like an obedient baby. Chapter 45-41. Buying a storybook. Yangchun Baishue walked out of the mansion and bumped into Tumeyer. Yang Liang Yuan, where are you going? I heard that you are going to ring the demon Skybell? TSK, it seems that not only are you useless, but your brain is also not working well. Do you think that you can ring the demon Skybell? Tumeyer said sarcastically. Yangchun Baishue did not want to waste her breath on Tumeyer. She wanted to leave but was blocked by Tumeyer's men. Yangchun Baishue could only say, Tumeyer, I don't want to waste my breath on you. Get out of my way. What a joke. This road does not belong to your Yang family. What's wrong with us leaving? If you ask me, a good-for-nothing like you? Slap. Before Tumeyer could finish her sentence, she was slapped across the face. The force of the slap was so strong that she staggered back. Yangchun Baishue looked at the impatient-looking He Xinjio with a dumbfounded expression. He Xinjio glared fiercely at Tumeyer. Damn it, he dared to delay little meme buying her a storybook. He was really courting death. Tumeyer did not regain her senses for a long while. Yangchun Baixu's human puppet had just hit her with its hand, right? Could it be that she had already cultivated to a physical form? How was this possible? She had only been summoned for 2 days, and she had already cultivated a physical body? Even if it was just her right hand, this was too unbelievable. He Xinjio gave Yangchun Baishue a look. Did that mean that she should leave as soon as possible? Yangchun Baishue came back to her senses. While Tumeyer and her subordinates were still in a daze, she took He Xinjio and left. Tumeyer had suffered such a huge loss, so she would not let it go. She chased after her angrily with her subordinates. Yangchun Baishue, you bitch, stop right there. Why aren't you running? Idiot. He Xinjiu mouthed to Yang Chun Baishue. Yang Chun Baishue had no choice but to run with He Xinjiu. After turning a few corners, they arrived at the busiest street in the imperial city and entered a bookstore. He Xinjiu had just jumped out. Now, she was like a little mouse that had entered a rice vat. Naturally, she would not return to Yang Chun Baixu's sea of consciousness. She quickly found the place where the conversation book was placed, looking at the words on the cover, such as the harem past that the Fox Empress had to tell and the 108 husbands of the Snake Princess. She was so happy that flowers bloomed. Yang Chun Baishue looked at the wretched appearance of her puppet and was dumbfounded. Not only did she summon a foodie, but she also summoned a fucking pervert. Little meme, buy it all. He Xinjiu rubbed her hands excitedly. This demon race was indeed talented. Just looking at the cover, she felt that it was pretty good. Especially when she saw the meaningful eyes of the bookstore owner and the shop assistant, she wished she could find a hole to hide in. What could she do? Could she tell the bookstore owner and the shop assistant that these notebooks were for her puppet to read? He Xinjiu was so happy that she was about to fly up, following behind Yang Chun Baishue. The bookstore owner and the shop assistant looked at her curiously, thinking that this puppet's face was really dark. Yang Chun Baishue paid the bill, put the script into her storage ring, and brought He Xinjiu out of the bookstore. He Xinjiu floated in front of Yang Chun Baishue and said, "Little meme, go and buy me something delicious. Pastries, candied fruits, dried meat, dried fruit, I'm not picky." Yang Chun Baishue was already numb. Since she had already bought the script, she did not need the pastries anymore. She would just treat it as if she had raised an ancestor. Chapter 45-42. He Xinjiu's power. Yang Chun Baishue and He Xinjiu had just arrived at the dim sum shop when they were stopped by the furious Tu Meyer and her men. "Bitch, either you kneel down and apologize to me, or I'll slap you twice. Otherwise, I'll have your puppet destroyed," Tu Meyer said fiercely. If it were in the past, Yang Chun Baishue might have given in. But now that she was determined to die, she was much bolder than usual. She sneered, "Tu Meyer, you're the one who made a fuss first. Why should I apologize to you?" Tu Meyer saw that the usually submissive Yang Chun Baishue actually dared to talk to her like this, so she immediately raised her hand and slapped Yang Chun Baixu's face. Yang Chun Baishue reached out and grabbed Tu Meyer's wrist. "Tu Meyer, don't go too far." Tu Meyer broke free from Yang Chun Baixu's hand. Her eyes flashed with viciousness. "Bitch, you dare to resist? You're courting death." Tu Meyer immediately activated her demonic power and attacked Yang Chun Baishue. Yang Chun Baixu's demonic power level was much lower than Tu Meyer's. She was no match for Tu Meyer. In just a few moves, she was forced to retreat. Tu Meyer's face revealed a contemptuous expression. "Yang Chun Baishue, it's still not too late for you to kneel down to me. Otherwise, it won't be as simple as kneeling down." The onlookers pointed and commented that Yang Chun Baishue is really overestimating herself. She is only at the 3rd layer of the demonic beginning stage, and that Tu Meyer is at the 6th layer of the demonic beginning stage. Isn't she asking for humiliation? Putting aside the demonic power level, the general's residence is just an empty shell now, and Prime Minister Tu is like the sun in the sky. Yang Chun Baishue is really asking for trouble. If it were a few days ago, Yang Chun Baishue would still have the title of the future Crown Prince's consort. But now that Tu Meyer has become the future Crown Prince's consort, she is just a good-for-nothing. There's no way to compare. Some members of the Yang clan shook their heads and sighed. It was not that they did not want to help, but they were simply too weak. Now, the Yang clan was really in decline. At this moment, Yang Chun Baishue was forced by Tu Meyer to stagger and fall to the ground. Tu Meyer used her foot to step on her lower abdomen and said disdainfully, "Trash is trash. You can't even withstand 10 moves from me. Men, hold her and kowtow to me to admit your mistake. Slap her 10 more times to let her learn her lesson." Tu Meyer naturally wanted to kill Yang Chun Baishue directly in her heart. However, this was the imperial city after all. Moreover, Yang Chun Baishue was the crown prince's good wife, so she naturally had some scruples. However, as long as she entered the crown prince's residence, She had many ways to quietly kill her. Yang Chun Baixue was filled with grief and indignation. This was the first time she resented herself for being weak and powerless. If she really kowtowed to Tu Meyer in public today, how would she have the face to live in this world? How would she have the face to meet her parents and clansmen? Just as Yang Chun Baixue was in despair, Tu Meyer let out a scream. Everyone looked at Tu Meyer, only to see a human puppet's hand tightly clutching Tu Meyer's slender neck. Oh my God, that's Yang Chun Baixue's puppet. Hasn't this puppet only been summoned for 2 days? Now, it has already condensed into a hand? That's nothing. Tu Meyer is in the 6th layer of the Yaochu realm. How did that puppet succeed? Tu Meyer's handmaidens wanted to save Tu Meyer, but Yun Chujia's hand gripped Tu Meyer's neck tightly. They didn't dare to act rashly. Especially Yun Chujia's murderous gaze. Although it didn't have any substance, it made them tremble in fear. They were stunned for a moment. Chapter 45-43. Uninvited guests. Yang Chun Baixue was also extremely shocked. Even though her good-for-nothing puppet had formed its right hand previously, it did not last long. How did it manage to strangle Tu Meyer this time? She was afraid that Yun Chujio would not be able to form a physical body after a while. She coldly said to Tu Meyer's maidservants, "All of you, step back. I will have my puppet release Tu Meyer. Otherwise, we will die together." Those handmaidens were afraid that something would happen to Tu Meyer, so they let go of Yang Chun Baixue and retreated to Tu Meyer's side. Only then did Yun Chujio release Tu Meyer. That damned woman. She had previously delayed little Meme buying her a script, and now she had delayed little Meme buying her delicious food. She was really courting death. Tu Meyer would not let it go so easily. Just as she was about to order her servants to release the puppets to deal with Yang Chun Baixue and He Xinjiu, the voice of the crown prince, Lu Zian, came from behind her. The malevolence on Tu Meyer's face instantly turned into a grievance. She turned her head and said with a choked voice, "Your Highness, Yang Chun Baixue ordered her puppets to strangle my neck. You have to give me justice." Yun Chujio curled her lips. Tu Meyer and that bullshit crown prince were really a couple. They were both good at acting. Lu Zian saw the bruise on Tu Meyer's neck and said with heartache, "I have a pill here to reduce swelling and remove bruises. I'll help you apply it in a while. You'll be fine soon." "Schwer, this is your fault. How can you treat Meyer like this? However, for the sake of the past, I won't pursue you this time. If there's a next time, Meyer, let's go." Tu Meyer knew that Lu Zian was trying to help Yang Chun Baixue, so she secretly gritted her teeth. Could it be that the crown prince still had feelings for this bitch? However, she still said shyly, "Then well, do as your highness says. Let's go." After Lu Zian left with Tu Meyer and the others, He Xinjiu felt a little dizzy. It must have been caused by the overuse of her demonic power, so she had no choice but to hide between Yang Chun Baixue's eyebrows. Yang Chun Baixue could not help but feel a little anxious when she saw her weak appearance. However, it was strange that other people's puppets and their masters were telepathically connected. They could communicate with each other using their spiritual senses. However, her puppet was very strange, so she could only communicate with her lips. Therefore, she had no way to ask. Just as she was about to return to the general's residence, she stopped and entered the pastry shop next door. The onlookers curled their lips. This Yang Chun Baixue was really big-hearted. She actually had the time to buy snacks. How would they know that Yang Chun Baixue was buying these for her gluttonous puppet? Yang Chun Baixue bought some pastries and candied fruits before returning to the general's residence. However, when she saw the two people at the door, her expression immediately turned gloomy. "Ni Schwer, you're back? Your second aunt and I came to see you," said a middle-aged man. Although he was quite good-looking, the fawning and scheming expression on his face was really displeasing. A fat woman beside him said loudly, "Yes, Ni Schwer, I heard that you're going to hit the demon heaven bell? You little girl are really too impulsive. Aren't you courting death? Besides, what's wrong with becoming the crown prince's good wife? Eating and drinking well. In the future, if the crown prince becomes the emperor, he might even make you a noble consort. Yang Chun Baishua said coldly, "Second aunt, be careful with your words. Could it be that you are cursing the current emperor?" The fat woman's face immediately turned pale. I didn't mean that. What I meant was that you should stop hitting the demon sky bell and get married. If you need any help, your second uncle and I can help you. Chapter 45-44 Calculations. The two people who spoke were Yang Chun Baixu's second uncle, Yang Ming Sihai, and her second aunt, Wei. In the eastern continent, only the direct descendants of the various clans were allowed to use the surnames Yang, Lu, Ma, Zhu, and Tuesday. As for the side branches, they were allowed to use other surnames. Therefore, even though the Wei clan was also a Yang clan, because they were side branches, their surname was Wei. Yang Chun Baishua sneered and said, "Thank you for second uncle and second aunt's good intentions, but I've already made up my mind. I'll definitely bump into this demon skybell. The crown prince sent you here, right? I still have things to do, you guys can leave." Yang Chun Baishua sneered in her heart. No wonder Lu Zian would help her out. It turned out that he had such an idea. Yang Ming Sihai rolled his eyes. "Ni Shuer, don't misunderstand. Although we are working in the crown prince's residence, you are my biological niece. Naturally, I am thinking of you. Since you have already made up your mind, then I won't advise you anymore." Yang Chun Baixu's expression softened when she heard that. There were no people she trusted around her, and she and Yang Ming Sihai were the only ones left in her direct line of descent. She could only hand over the funeral to him. She took out her jade token and opened the courtyard door. "Come in and talk." Yang Ming Sihai and Wei Shi looked at each other. Their eyes were full of joy and greed. The two followed Yang Chun Baishue into the general's residence. When they saw the exquisite decorations in the courtyard, the greed on their faces became even more obvious. As long as they could do what the crown prince had ordered them to do, with the death of Yang Chun Baishue, the crown prince would restore their freedom. Moreover, this general's residence would also be theirs. Yang Chun Baishue brought them to the living room. After taking a seat, Yang Chun Baishue said, "Second uncle, if I unfortunately die, I hope that you can bury my corpse together with my parents. All the money and items in my storage ring will be given to you. If the emperor does not take it back, this general's residence will also belong to you." Yang Ming Sihai's eyes flashed with joy. However, when he thought of what the crown prince had said, he sighed and said, "Shuer, Sai, you are too stubborn. Have you really decided?" Yang Chun Baishue nodded. "I would rather die than marry into the crown prince's residence. Second uncle, from now on, the sacrificial rights of the Yangs will be handed over to you." Yang Ming Sihai nodded and cursed in his heart. This should have been his matter to begin with, but when Yang Chun Baixu's father was about to die, he had forcefully passed on the position of the Yangsclan leader to this good-for-nothing niece. It was really infuriating. "Ni Shuer, this is second uncle's duty. Second uncle will naturally do his duty." However, did big brother and sister-in-law give you any other instructions when they died? Did they leave anything else for you? Yang Ming Sihai asked probingly. Yang Chun Baixu's expression immediately darkened. She suddenly stood up. "I was wondering why you guys were so kind all of a sudden. So it turns out that you have such an idea? Go back and tell your master that father and mother didn't leave anything for me. Tell him not to waste his efforts. You guys can go. I don't welcome you here." Yang Ming Sihai still wanted to say something to ease the tension, but Yang Chun Baishue didn't give him a chance to speak. She directly took out a treasured sword and slashed at the two people like Jian Feng. Yang Ming Sihai and Wei Shi didn't dare to fight back. They were chased out of the gate in a sorry state. Wei Shi shouted sharply, "The things your parents gave you are also from the Yang family. You are going to die. Why can't you hand them over to your second uncle? You jinx. You killed your parents and your sheep clan. You deserve to die. You little bitch." Chapter 45-45 He Xinjia's self-reflection. Yang Chun Baishue slammed the door shut and slumped to the ground, biting her lips. Did she really kill her parents? Did she cause the downfall of the Yang clan? Did she really deserve to die? He Xinjio had a clear view of what had just happened. However, she had used up too much of her demonic energy to deal with Tu Meyer, so she did not come out to make a scene. Now that she saw that Yang Chun Baishue looked like she could not afford to live, she had no choice but to float out. Little meme, are you stupid? That shrew made up a few nonsense words, and you're already in such a state? Hei Shinjio rolled her eyes and said. Yang Chun Baishue was about to speak when she heard Hei Shinjio continue. Didn't you buy a lot of delicious food just now? Let's go. Well, go to the study room and eat snacks while reading a storybook. It's so wonderful. Yang Chun Baishue. If only she was as heartless as this good-for-nothing puppet. Forget it. She was going to die anyway. What was the point of thinking so much? So be it. She didn't have many days left to live anyway. Yang Chun Baishue stood up immediately and brought Hei Shinjio to the study room. However, when she opened the storybook she bought, her face turned red with embarrassment. She refused to help Hei Shinjio open the book no matter what. When Hei Shinjio saw that Yang Chun Baishue refused to help her flip through the books no matter what, she was so angry that she snorted, "Little meme, your skin is too thin. There's nothing written here. Isn't it just holding hands and kissing on the lips?" Yang Chun Baishue was so embarrassed that she wished she could stuff Hei Xinjia's mouth shut. How did she summon such a pervert? However, she could not resist Hei Xinjia's scoundrel, so she could only help Hei Shinjio flip through the book with her eyes closed. Hei Shinjio read it with great interest. It had to be said that the storybooks of the demon race were vividly written. They were simply of the highest quality. They were much more advanced than the human race, the ghost race, and the nightmare race. Could it be that the demon race had the talent to write such a special storybook? It was not that this fellow had fallen, but there was nothing else she could do. The time was too short. Even if she cultivated day and night, it was impossible for her to cultivate a physical body. Moreover, even if she could cultivate a physical body, it would be useless. As for escaping, there was no need to think about it. Crown Prince Lu Zian had already set up hidden sentries outside the general's residence. There was no way he could escape. Moreover, even if he could escape with Yang Chun Baixu's weak demonic strength, they would not end well. They could only take it one step at a time. Besides, Hei Shinjio felt that since the black bead had brought her here, it would not leave her to die. It might teleport her back to the ghost realm at the critical moment. Seeing that the next day was the day of the demon sky bell, Yang Chun Baishue cleaned up the ancestral hall. Kneeling on the futon, she said with tears in her eyes, "Ancestors of the Yang clan, father, mother, please bless Shuer to ring the demon sky bell tomorrow." Hei Shinjio rolled her eyes. She was just about to mock him when she remembered that she had placed her hopes on the black bead as well. She did not seem to have the right to mock little me. The fellow immediately came to a realization. She had felt that there was not much time left and there was no need to cultivate or not cultivate. It was a huge mistake. She should not give up until the very last moment. She was simply going back to her old self. Thus, she crossed her legs and floated in the air, starting to cultivate according to the puppet cultivation method she had seen earlier. Yang Chun Baishue cried for a while. When she got up, she actually saw her good-for-nothing puppet, which was either eating or reading a script, actually cultivating. She felt as if she had seen a ghost. Chapter 45-46. Was she the kind of person who would pluck the feathers of a goose? Yang Chun Baishue thought that Yun Chujio was putting on an act, but when she saw that Yun Chujio was really serious in her cultivation, she was instantly dumbfounded. Was this the last ray of light? Yang Chun Baishue saw that Hei Shinjio was serious in her cultivation, so she did not disturb her. She went out of the ancestral hall to prepare lunch. Yang Chun Baishue killed another chicken. When the food was ready, she did not see Yun Chujio coming over, which made her feel even more abnormal. If she had smelled the aroma of the food, her good-for-nothing puppet would have floated over long ago. However, there was no movement today. What the hell? When Yang Chun Baishue arrived at the ancestral hall, she saw Yun Chujio still cultivating seriously. She sighed and said, "Stop practicing. It's time to eat." Hei Shinjio opened her eyes and flew toward the kitchen without paying attention to Yang Chun Baishue. Yang Chun Baishue was stunned. How did this good-for-nothing puppet become so fast? When she arrived at the kitchen, Hei Shinjio was already waiting to feed her. Yang Chun Baishue had no choice but to feed the puppet ancestor. She could not help but ask curiously, "Why did you cultivate on a whim? Tomorrow is the day of the demon-slaying heavenly bell. It's useless no matter how fast you cultivate." Yun Chujio said in a rare serious tone, "I won't give up until the last moment. I won't regret it if I try my best." The spoon in Yang Chun Baixu's hand fell on the table. She wouldn't be surprised if someone else said it, but why did it sound so different from the mouth of this good-for-nothing puppet? Yang Chun Baishue came back to her senses and smiled bitterly. "What you said makes sense. It's just that we don't have enough time. It's up to you. If you were dead, wouldn't they have found it by searching your storage ring or the general's residence? Or are you hiding in some secret place?" Yang Chun Baishue hesitated for a moment and did not say a word. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This crybaby did not trust her. This Kay, who cared about her treasure? Was she the kind of person who would steal someone's love? Was she the kind of person who would pluck feathers from a wild goose? In order to avoid awkwardness, Yang Chun Baishue picked up a piece of chicken drumstick and fed it to Hei Shinjio. Hei Shinjio tactfully did not ask further. Little Mem must have hidden the treasure in a safe place. Even if she died, the crown prince and the others would not be able to find it. The two of them had just finished their lunch when the crown prince, Lu Zian, came again. It was nothing more than pretending to be affectionate to persuade Yang Chun Baishue not to bump into the demon Skybell. After being rejected, he left in a huff. As the first ray of morning light shone into the room the next day, Yang Chun Baishue got up and began to put on her clothes. In fact, she didn't sleep at all for the whole night. However, in her sea of consciousness, Hei Shinjio was probably tired from cultivating and slept very soundly. She hadn't even woken up until now. Yang Chun Baishue sighed and didn't call her. The main reason was that she couldn't call her either. Although this good-for-nothing puppet was her puppet, there was no way for them to communicate through spiritual sense. She also had no way to control her. Yang Chun Baishue finished putting on her clothes and went to the ancestral hall to kowtow 3 times respectfully before leaving the general's residence. The Demon Sky Bell was located in the southeast corner of the imperial city. Although it was blocked by a barrier, there were no shops or mansions around it. Chapter 45-47 Enchantment opened. Although the sky had just brightened, a major event like the Demon Sky Bell might not happen once in 1,000 years. So many demons gathered near the Demon Sky Bell. However, even with the enchantment blocking them, they didn't dare to get too close. They just watched from afar. Yang Chun Baishue looked at the Demon Sky Bell in the distant enchantment. She couldn't help but feel nervous and afraid, but now she had no other choice. She could only hope that the ancestors of the monster ancestor and the Yang race would bless her to ring the demon heaven bell and save her life. As the time was not up yet, and Emperor Kong Shao and the others had not arrived yet, she could only wait for the time being. Tu Meyer had arrived long ago. She walked to Yang Chun Baishue and said with malicious intent, "Yang Chun Baishue, it's not too late for you to regret now. Why must you go and die? When you marry into the crown prince's mansion, he'll take good care of you. He'll treat you like my own sister." Yang Chun Baishue said coldly, "Tu Meyer, although my demonic power is not as high as yours, I'm not a fool. Aren't you saying these words to provoke me and make me more determined to hit the demon sky bell? Don't worry. Since I've said it, it'll definitely hit the demon sky bell." Tu Meyer's thoughts were exposed by Yang Chun Baishue, and she couldn't help but become angry from embarrassment. She said angrily, "Since you don't know what's good for you, then go and die. You really don't know what's good for you." Yang Chun Baishue didn't even look at her. She realized that ever since she summoned that good-for-nothing puppet, she had been living much more comfortably than before. In the past, she wouldn't have dared to diss Tu Meyer like this. She only knew how to retreat, but what was the result of blindly retreating? Wouldn't she still be bullied by others? In that case, she might as well live on. If she could summon that good-for-nothing puppet earlier, perhaps she wouldn't have been forced into a dead end, right? Yang Chun Baishue looked at Hei Shinjio, who was still sleeping soundly in her sea of consciousness, and revealed a smile. Although this good-for-nothing puppet was lustful, gluttonous, and scoundrel, it was the person who treated her the best other than her parents. She could not help but regret not telling her parents what she left behind yesterday. If she was lucky enough to survive this time, she would definitely tell them the truth, but she did not know if she would still have the chance to do so. After a while, Emperor Kong Xiao personally arrived with the civil and military officials. Such an important matter like the Demon Sky Bell, Emperor Kong Xiao naturally attached great importance to it. Even if it was for outsiders to see, he could not neglect it. Emperor Kong Xiao first pretended to persuade Yang Chun Baixue, and when he saw that she had made up her mind, he began the ceremony. Ceremony? That's right, as the Demon Sky Bell was a treasure left behind by the monster race. Every time the enchantment was opened, a grand ceremony was held. After the tedious ceremony, Emperor Kong Xiao ordered his men to open a gap in the enchantment and let Yang Chun Baixue walk in. Almost as soon as the gap was opened, everyone could feel the pressure pouring out. Everyone felt their hearts suffocated and their foreheads were sweating. Some of them even began to tremble. This was because they were quite far away from the enchantment. One could imagine how much pressure they would feel if they walked into it. Snatching a man from her? She was simply overestimating herself. Yang Chun Baixue took a deep breath and tried her best to straighten her back as she walked towards the enchantment. As the distance between them got closer, Yang Chun Baixue's every step became extremely heavy. Her footsteps also became unsteady. She could not help but smile bitterly. Could it be that she could not even get close to the Demon Sky Bell? Chapter 45-48. He Xinjiu came out as they got closer and closer to the Demon Sky Bell. Yang Chun Baixue's clothes were soaked in sweat, and her lips were bleeding from her bites. Every step was extremely difficult. Everyone suddenly exclaimed because Yang Chun Baixue could not withstand the immense pressure and collapsed on the ground. Even so, she still knelt and crawled towards the Demon Sky Bell. The crowd could not help but be moved. They originally thought that this Yang Chun Baixue was weak and incompetent, but they did not expect her to be so tenacious. Only then did the crowd remember that the sheep race had once been incomparably glorious. Tu Meyer revealed a smug expression. This bitch would not be able to hold on for much longer. She was dead for sure. At this moment, Yang Chun Baixue only had one thought, and that was that she was unwilling to give up. Even if she could not hit the Demon Sky Bell, she would still give it a try. She could not give up just like that. As they got closer, the pressure became stronger and stronger. Yang Chun Baixue spat out a mouthful of blood and could not even crawl anymore. Everyone shook their heads. Although they were moved by Yang Chun Baixue's tenacity, the result was obvious now. Not to mention ringing the Demon Sky Bell, she probably couldn't even get close to the Demon Sky Bell. Crown Prince Lu Zian sneered in his heart. Bitch, she would rather die in the Demon Sky Bell's enchantment than marry him. She deserved to die. Unfortunately, once she died, there was no way to find out what General Yang and his wife had left for her. Yang Chun Baixue closed her eyes. Father, mother, Shuer has done her best. Shuer will be able to see you all soon. At this moment, everyone exclaimed again. Look! Yang Chun Baixue has released her human puppet. What does she want to do? She probably wants to struggle for a while before her death. Although her puppet has already formed her right hand, what use is that? That's right. The demonic power of the puppet will not exceed that of the host. Even Yang Chun Baixue has vomited blood. Her puppet will probably be forced to dissipate completely by the pressure soon. Yang Chun Baixue looked at her useless puppet in surprise. Did she wake up? He Xinjiu curled her lips when she saw Yang Chun Baixue's miserable state. This little meme had actually acted alone without waiting for her to wake up. She did not even think about it. Without her ghost ancestor, would she be able to do it alone? He Xinjiu shifted her gaze to the Demon Sky Bell not far away. It was a large bell with ancient patterns. Although its name was rather domineering, but to be honest, what was so special about the so-called Demon Sky Bell when He Xinjiu came out? Pressure? This thing did not exist in He Xinjiu's place. What kind of thing's pressure could be stronger than heavenly thunder? She was not even afraid of heavenly thunder, So why would she be afraid of the mere pressure of the demon sky bell? She floated in front of Yangchun Baixue and blocked a part of the pressure for her. She mowed, "Step back, I'll ring the demon sky bell for you." Yangchun Baixu's almond-shaped eyes were wide open. She originally thought that her useless puppet would be forced to dissipate by the pressure of the demon sky bell as soon as it came out, but she was actually fine. A glimmer of hope suddenly rose in Yangchun Baixu's heart. Perhaps she really could do it? She knew that if she continued to stay here, she would definitely die because she could not withstand the pressure. Therefore, she only hesitated for a moment before she followed Yun Chujia's words and retreated bit by bit. Chapter 45-49 was fun to play with. When the crowd saw that Yangchun Baixue actually retreated, they could not help but explode. Tu Meyer shouted sharply, "Close the enchantment. We can't let her out. If she comes out, the monster ancestor will blame us." Although Emperor Kong Shao was dissatisfied with Tu Meyer's shouting, he still ordered the guards to close the enchantment. Since that Yangchun Baixue had already agreed to hit the demon sky bell, there was no chance for her to go back on her words. When Yangchun Baixue saw that the enchantment was closed, she could not help but sneer. She did not want to go out, she just wanted to stay away from the demon sky bell. He Xinjiu had been escorting Yangchun Baixue to the edge of the enchantment. Although the pressure here was still very strong for Yangchun Baixue, she could still keep her life for a while. After He Xinjiu settled Yangchun Baixue down, she floated towards the demon sky bell. When the onlookers saw that He Xinjiu did not disappear and was still floating towards the demon sky bell, they were shocked. Could it be that the human puppet wanted to replace Yangchun Baixue to ring the demon sky bell? What a joke! Even her host failed. How could she, the most useless human puppet, succeed? Besides, she had only been summoned for a few days. No matter how heaven-defying her demonic energy was, it wouldn't be that high. How could she possibly crash into the demon sky bell? Putting everything else aside, she probably couldn't even move the bell hammer that crashed into the demon sky bell. Although the bell hammer was hung on the rack by a chain, it wasn't that easy to move it. However, the human puppet should have been forced to dissipate by the pressure a long time ago. Why did it not seem to be affected? Under everyone's different gazes, He Xinjiu floated to the front of the demon sky bell. She did not push the hammer but gathered her demonic power in her right hand and smacked it toward the demon sky bell. When Yangchun Baixue saw it, she shouted anxiously, "Stop." However, it was too late. He Xinjiu's right hand had already struck the demon sky bell. Yangchun Baixu's head buzzed. It was all her fault. She should have told her good-for-nothing puppet in advance that she could only hit the demon sky bell with the bell hammer. This was because the surface of the demon sky bell had a strong murderous aura. Once touched, it would be turned into ashes. The onlookers also cried out in surprise. This puppet didn't even have such common sense. It was definitely dead. However, everyone heard a desolate bell chime. It seemed to come from the distant past. Even though it was blocked by a barrier, it still made everyone's souls tremble. That puppet actually used its hand to ring the demon sky bell? How is this possible? He Xinjiu was also stunned. She just felt that the bell hammer was a little redundant. This thing seemed to only be able to ring with its hand, so she stretched out her right hand to try it. He Xinjiu thought that it was quite fun, so she stretched out her paw and tapped again. The demon sky bell once again let out a desolate sound. Emperor Kong Shao and the others could not help but feel their legs go weak, because the sound of the bell made them want to kneel down and worship. He Xinjiu did not know about the situation of the others. She just thought that the demon sky bell was really interesting. It could even be tapped with one's hand, so this guy tapped a few times in a row. It was not until she heard Yangchun Baixu's intermittent and hoarse cries for help that she stopped. Yangchun Baixue was about to cry. Although it was a good thing that her own useless puppet rang the demon sky bell, but don't keep knocking it. Didn't you see that she kept vomiting blood? In the end, she might not be forced to death by the pressure, but instead, she would be played to death by her own puppet. Chapter 45-50 Demon Sky Bell ran away. He Xinjiu then realized that Yangchun Baixu's face was as pale as a piece of paper. Her clothes were covered in blood, and even the stone slab in front of her was covered in blood. Outside, there was a mass of people kneeling on the ground. Some of them had weak demonic powers and even fainted. Hey Shinjio. This should, probably 80% have nothing to do with her, right? Didn't she just ring the bell a few times? Right at this moment, the demon sky bell suddenly rose up from the ground and broke through the barrier, flying far away. Everyone was stunned by the sudden turn of events. Why did the demon sky bell run away? This was the national treasure of their eastern continent. If it was lost, wouldn't it be a disaster? If it ran to the western continent? The consequences would be unimaginable. Emperor Kong Xiao was stunned for a moment and immediately ordered his men to chase after the demon sky bell. Even if they could not catch it back, they still had to know where it went. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. She could not be bothered with where the broken bell went. She floated in front of Yang Chun Baishue and said, "Little meh, are you stupid? Can't you take some hemostatic medicine?" Yang Chun Baishue took out a hemostatic pill from her storage ring and swallowed it. She was already in a daze just now. How could she have thought of taking the hemostatic medicine? At this moment, Tu Meyer said sharply, "Your Majesty, it's all Yang Chun Baixu's puppet's fault. If she didn't pat the demon sky clock rashly, why would the demon sky clock break through the barrier and run away? You should have killed Yang Chun Baishue now. If so, the demon sky clock might have flown back by itself." Everyone's eyes fell on Yang Chun Baishue and Hei Shinjio. Yes, the demon sky clock had been fine all this time, but now it suddenly ran away. It must have been because of the human puppet's reckless pat. Yang Chun Baishue was stunned for a moment before she sneered and said, "Which rule in our eastern continent forbids us from patting the demon sky bell with our hands? Moreover, the demon sky bell is a treasure left behind by the demon ancestor. How could my puppet be able to pat it away with just a few pats?" Of course, these words were not what Yang Chun Baishue had thought of, but what Hei Shinjio had taught her. Since Hei Xinjia's back was facing everyone, no one else could see it. Tu Meyer said in exasperation, "Yang Chun Baishue, you don't have to quibble. You're a jinx. You killed your parents, and now the Yao Tianzhong is gone. You should die." Upon hearing that, Yang Chun Baixu's pale face turned even paler. Hei Xinjia's eyes darkened as she said a few words to Yang Chun Baishue. Yang Chun Baixu's face stiffened, but she still followed Yun Chujia's instructions and said, "Tu Meyer, you said that I am a jinx, but I can even defeat the demonic sky bell. Then, if I want to harm anyone in the future, why don't I just go to the other party's house and take a look? If that's the case, why don't you ask His Majesty to send me to the Western Land? I might even kill all the people in the Western Land." Tu Meyer choked on her words. You're twisting the facts. No matter what, the demon sky bell's escape was caused by your puppet. You can't escape the blame. Emperor Kong Xiao's head hurt from Tu Meyer's sharp voice, but he also felt that she was right. The demon sky bell's escape was related to Yang Chun Baixu's puppet. If the demon sky bell could not be found, someone would have to take the blame. Thinking of this, Emperor Kong Xiao waved his hand, "Take down Yang Chun Baishue." Chapter 45-51, Sunset Peak. The Imperial Guards swarmed forward. Yang Chun Baishue had already suffered heavy internal injuries. She was no match for them. Besides, she did not dare to resist. Yang Chun Baishue saw Yun Chujia's mouth and quickly said, "Your Majesty, please wait. I am willing to invite the demon sky bell back. If I can't do it, you can punish me later." Emperor Kong Xiao frowned and pondered for a moment. "Since you say so, I'll give you a chance to make up for it." "Yes, your son," Lu Zian quickly answered. Lu Zian immediately led a group of guards to escort Yang Chun Baishue and chased after the demon sky bell. Tu Meyer thought for a moment before she followed behind with her own guards. Hei Shinjio jumped between Yang Chun Baixu's brows as she pondered over her next step. Things had been going smoothly initially, but she did not expect that damned demon sky clock to run away. How hateful! Since that broken clock had already run away, it would not be easy to catch it back. Why not escape with little Meme? However, little Meme was too weak. Even if it ran away, it would still be caught back. Just as Hei Shinjio was at her wit's end, Lu Zian asked with concern. Shuer, are you all right? Do you know how worried I was just now? It's great that you're still alive. You don't have to worry. I will plead on behalf of my imperial father. As long as you hand over the things that General Yang left for you, my imperial father will not blame you. Yang Chun Baishue said coldly, Thank you, Your Highness. It's just that my parents did not leave anything for me. Your Highness, you don't have to worry about it. Lu Zian was furious. At this time, this bitch was still stubborn. However, it did not matter. If he could not invite Yao Tianzhong back, he would punish this bitch. He did not believe that she would be able to endure it. Tu Meyer gritted her teeth in hatred, but she didn't say anything. She could finally see that the crown prince wasn't still in love with this bitch, but wanted what General Yang left behind. At this moment, a guard came to report, Your Highness, the demon sky clock stopped at the peak of Sunset Peak. Lu Zian looked in the direction the guard pointed. Indeed, he could vaguely see something on the peak of Sunset Peak. It seemed to be the demon sky clock. Lu Zian immediately sped up and brought Yang Chun Baishue and his men to the foot of Sunset Peak. Seeing Lu Zian coming over, the leader of the previous group of guards who were chasing after the demon sky bell quickly came over to report, Your Highness, I brought my men here and found that the demon sky bell has stopped at the peak of Sunset Peak. Sunset Peak is very steep and the demon sky bell has a terrifying pressure. I haven't thought of a countermeasure yet. Lu Zian frowned. Before she could speak, Tu Meyer suggested, Your Highness, since this disaster was caused by Yang Chun Baishue, why don't we order her to climb up and invite the demon sky bell down? Lu Zian was a little hesitant. The setting sun peak was very steep. What if Yang Chun Baishue fell to her death? Unexpectedly, Yang Chun Baishue said, Your Highness, I'm willing to give it a try. Lu Zian was in a dilemma. Seeing this, Tu Meyer quickly said, Your Highness, the demon sky bell is extremely important to our East Continent. Let her try. Otherwise, if the demon sky bell runs away again, we will have nowhere to go. Lu Zian gritted his teeth. Alright Shuer, go and try. Remember, don't force yourself. Yang Chun Baishue ignored Lu Zian and turned around to climb the Sunset Peak. Chapter 45-52. Escape together. The reason why Yang Chun Baishue asked for the order was because He Xinjiu had instructed her to do it. She had already unconsciously regarded He Xinjiu as her backbone, so she did as she was told. To be honest, Yang Chun Baishue was really uncertain. Firstly, the Sunset Peak was extremely steep. She didn't know if she could climb to the peak safely. Secondly, it was obvious that the demon sky bell had gained sentience. Would it run away after she had gone through so much trouble to climb up? Thirdly, the demon sky bell's pressure was so strong. If she took the initiative to approach it, wouldn't she be courting death? Halfway up, Yang Chun Baishue could not take it anymore. She had already suffered internal injuries and the demon sky bell was exuding pressure. She had already gritted her teeth to hold on until now. He Xinjiu floated out from between her brows. Little meme, come. You shout when I say something. Although Yang Chun Baishue did not know what He Xinjiu was up to, she still nodded her head. Hence, she shouted in confusion, Little Zhong Zhong Zhong, let's talk about a deal. Yang Chun Baixu's heart was filled with rage. Let's not talk about what Little Zhong 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 was, talk about business? You're talking about business with Yao Tianzhong? Can you still have some face? What right do you have to talk about business with Yao Tianzhong? Lu Zian and the others were also dumbfounded. This Yang Chun Baishue was crazy, right? When Yao Tianzhong heard the name Little Zhong Zhong, its tiger body trembled and it was about to fly away. However, it heard Yang Chun Baishue continue, Little Zhong Zhong Zhong, no matter where you run, you can't escape the fate of being hunted. Why don't we work together? You take me with you, and I guarantee that you can escape to heaven. The demonic sky bell emitted an even stronger pressure. It was obvious that Yang Chun Baixu's words had infuriated it. Yang Chun Baishue secretly complained in her heart. This good-for-nothing puppet of hers was probably not smart enough. How could the demonic sky bell bring them with him? However, when she saw Yun Chujia's gaping mouth again, she quickly followed and said, Little Zhong Zhong Zhong, You took the risk to break out of the barrier. Logically speaking, you should have escaped far away. However, you stopped here. This means that your demonic power has not fully recovered yet. Besides wanting to regain your freedom, you must have another purpose to break out of the barrier, right? How can you accomplish your purpose if you can't transform into a bell? Therefore, our cooperation is the best way. Take me with you and escape. It'll help you fulfill your wish. It was unknown which part of Yang Chunbaeksu's words struck the demon sky clock's heart. All in all, a tremendous suction force assaulted Yang Chunbaeshue, and she flew toward the demon sky clock. Hei Shinjio could not help but fly over as well. She gave herself a thumbs up in her heart. A smart person like her never used force to solve problems. Brains were the best. Lu Zian and the others were dumbfounded. How did Yang Chunbaeshue say a few words and Yao Tianzhong abduct them? Lu Zian glared at Tu Meyer in anger. It was all her fault. If it wasn't for her bad idea, how could Yang Chunbaeshue convince Yao Tianzhong to take them away? Tu Meyer was so depressed that she wanted to vomit blood. Her original intention was to let Yang Chunbaeshue die from the pressure of Yao Tianzhong or fall to her death. Who knew that Yang Chunbaeshue, who was usually slow-witted, would suddenly be able to speak? What the hell? What are you still standing there for? Go after her, Lu Zian said in exasperation. Inside the demon sky bell, Hei Shinjio was lying leisurely and said to Yang Chunbaeshue, "Little meme, tell that idiot demon sky bell to escape from the bottom of the water. If he keeps flying in the sky, he won't be able to escape for the rest of his life." Chapter 45-53, The Shrunken Demon Sky Clock. Yang Chunbaeshue relayed Hei Xinjia's words to the demon sky clock. Of course, her words were more tactful. After all, they were now living under someone else's roof. Hei Shinjio did not have the self-awareness of living under someone else's roof. After lying down for a while, she asked Yang Chunbaeshue to feed her. Yang Chunbaeshue wanted to say that she had already formed her right hand, so why didn't she eat it herself? However, when she thought of the behavior of her puppet, she still obediently fed her lunch. Yang Chunbaeshue wanted to discuss the following arrangements with Yun Chujio, but she realized that she had never given this good-for-nothing puppet a name, so she said, "Let me give you a name. My surname is Yang, and you are so fond of beauty. Why don't you call yourself Yang Hua?" Hey Shinjio. Hua? Fickle Yang Hua? Damn it, if anyone said that her naming skills were not good, she would kick them to death. No matter how ugly her name was, it was better than the Yang Hua that little meme had named. Hei Shinjio naturally would not call herself Yang Hua. She said with a gloomy face, "Don't randomly name me. I'm called Little Jio." Hei Shinjio said unhappily, "Let's take it one step at a time. After all, weren't you planning to die?" Yang Chunbaeshue almost vomited blood. She vaguely knew that her name had angered the good-for-nothing puppet, but why was she so angry? Yang Chunbaeshue did not dare to say anything more and began to meditate and cultivate. Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes. No matter what, they were already far away from the imperial city with the demon sky clock. She had to find a place to settle down before she made any further plans. This guy would get sleepy after a full meal and fall asleep in a daze. When she fell asleep, she heard Yang Chunbaeksu's exclamation. She quickly opened her eyes. This guy was surprised to find that they were on a grassland. "Little Jio, this is the Western continent. What should we do? If the demons in the Western continent discover us, we will be dead," Yang Chunbaeshue said with a sobbing voice. Yun Chujio frowned. "The Western continent? Didn't I just take a nap? Why did I come to the Western continent?" Hei Shinjio asked in puzzlement. Yang Chunbaeshue said somewhat speechlessly, "You slept for more than 20 hours. It's already noon the next day. Do you see the grass with yellow flowers in the distance? This kind of yellow cattail leaf grass can only be found in the Western continent. I remember that the source of the Futsu River in the Western continent is a grassland. I believe that the demon sky clock must have fled all the way here along the Futsu River." Hei Shinjio was furious. Damn it, where's that idiot demon sky bell? Can't he grow a brain? Hei Shinjio cursed while looking for the demon sky bell. However, she found no trace of the demon sky bell except for her and Yang Chun Baishue. Little Ma, where's the demon sky bell? Yang Chun Baishue pointed at He Xinjia's right wrist. He Xinjio looked down and saw a red string on her right wrist. On it hung the demon sky bell that had shrunk countless times. He Xinjio was stunned for a moment. Little Meme, you hung it on my wrist? Yang Chun Baishue shook her head. When I came out, I saw it on your wrist. Yang Chun Baishue was also dumbfounded. All right. Anyone who saw a treasure like the demon sky bell on their puppet's wrist would be dumbfounded. All right. He Xinjio was about to ask again when she saw a lion running over from afar. Following closely behind were several men riding horses. Yang Chun Baishue said with a trembling voice, "Yes, it's the demons of the Western continent. We're dead." Chapter 45-54, Lang Mofeng. Yang Chun Baishue was so regretful that her intestines turned green. If she had known that she would come to the Western land in a daze, she would have rather been locked up by Emperor Kong Xiao. At least she would still have a chance to live, but now there was really no way to live at all. He Xinjio did not expect things to develop to this point, but since it had already happened, she could only act according to the circumstances. If not, didn't she still have the demon sky bell? Even though it had shrunk so much, it should still be of some use, right? He Xinjio said to Yang Chun Baishue, "Calm down. The most is just death. What are you afraid of? I'll go in and rest for a while. You deal with it yourself." Yang Chun Baishue was on the verge of tears. Although that was the case, who would want to die if they could live? Furthermore, the eastern and western continents had always been incompatible with fire and water. Those people would probably kill her if they saw her. At this moment, the lion had already been shot to death by one of them with a bow and arrow. Those people also noticed Yang Chun Baishue and immediately surrounded her in the middle. Someone whistled, "I didn't expect that we would have an additional surprise today. Little beauty of the Yang clan, why did you come to our western continent? Do you think that the men of the eastern continent are too lousy?" Ha! The others also laughed out loud. The customs of the western continent were much more valiant than those of the eastern continent. Moreover, she was a female captive. Naturally, they would not be polite. Yang Chun Baixu's face flushed red. She thought to herself that if she really couldn't do it, she could only commit suicide. "Little beauty, why aren't you saying anything? Since you're not saying anything, it means that you're a spy from the eastern continent. If you're a spy, you'll be beheaded." As the man spoke, he whipped the grass beside Yang Chun Baishue. He was very pleased when he saw Yang Chun Baixu's panicked expression. At this moment, a few people rushed over from afar. When they saw the man in the lead, the few people from before quickly dismounted and saluted. "Greetings, Your Highness, the second prince." The young man in the lead had a very handsome face, but he had 2 wolf ears. Yang Chun Baishue could not help but be stunned when she saw the man. It was him? He was the second prince of the Western continent? The second prince nodded slightly and said to the people behind him, "Bring this woman from the Yang clan back to the prince's residence. I want to interrogate her personally." Yang Chun Baishue did not resist when she saw those people coming over, because it was useless to resist. The person who had played with Yang Chun Baishue with the whip earlier could not help but say embarrassedly when he saw the second prince take his people and leave, "How fucking unlucky. I thought I could have fun with that little beauty of the sheep race, but it was snatched away by the second prince. A rat race child really thinks he's so amazing." The others echoed, "That's right. Among these princes, the second prince, Lang Mofeng, is the most useless. His demonic power is the lowest, and he eats, drinks, and plays all day long. It's impossible for him to be the one to ascend the throne in the end. That's right. His mother race is the rat race. To be honest, the rat race doesn't deserve to live in our western continent. They should return to the eastern continent. They're so weak." Although the children of different demon races are of the same race as their fathers, how can it be the same if the mother race is the wolf race or the rat race? I also heard that the second prince's puppet is actually a dog. Ha, I'm dying of laughter. I heard that it's even a khaki puppy. It's a disgrace to the royal family. Chapter 45-55 The Wolf Falls in Love with the Sheep? Yang Chun Baishue was brought back to the imperial city by the second prince Lang Mofeng and went straight into the second prince's residence. After entering the second prince's residence, unexpectedly, the second prince did not interrogate Yang Chun Baishue. Instead, he arranged for two maids to bring Yang Chun Baishue down to wash up and rest. Hei Xinjiu saw that Yang Chun Baishue had been silent the entire time and did not put up too much of a fight. She was puzzled. Could it be that little Ba knew this second prince? Was there an affair? A wolf tribe and a sheep tribe. Did the wolf fall in love with the sheep? Or did the sheep fall in love with the wolf? A melody began to play in Hei Xinjiu's mind repeatedly. The wolf fell in love with the sheep, madly in love. Who asked them to fall in love? After the two handmaidens left, Hei Xinjiu could not wait to jump out and asked with a gossipy face, "Little Meme, do you know that second prince? Do you have a story?" Yang Chun Baishue looked at Hei Xinjiu, who was full of interest and was speechless. She said, "It's not really a story. It's just that when I was young, my parents stationed me at the border and I once saved a little wolf. I thought that it was just an ordinary wild beast. I did not expect that it was the wolf clan. Because they were heavily injured, they turned into beast forms. At that time, I was too soft-hearted and didn't kill him. I let him go without telling my parents. That was all there was to it." Hei Xinjiu let out an ohin disappointment. She had thought that it was an unprecedented love affair, but it turned out to be a life-saving grace. She rolled her eyes. "Little Meme, you definitely don't have a place in the eastern lands anymore. Why don't you let that second prince save your life? There's nothing I can do to repay him. You can just marry him. I think he's quite good-looking too, and he's clearly not an ungrateful scum. Why don't you just take him in? Then we'll think of a way to let him ascend to the throne. You two can unify the eastern and western continents. It's simply wonderful." Yang Chun Baishue was dumbstruck when she heard this. She felt that her own puppet had gone mad. Moreover, the second prince was a prince. It was even more impossible for him to marry a sheep race woman like her as a concubine. Moreover, she and he only had some interactions when they were young. How could they talk about marriage? Yang Chun Baishue frowned when she thought of this. When she saved the second prince was already a teenager at that time. His appearance had not changed much since then, so Yang Chun Baishue recognized him at a glance. But how did he recognize her? She was a little fat girl when she was young. Her appearance now was still quite different from that time. At this time, two maids lifted the curtain and walked in. Each of them held a tray with pastries, tea, and other things on it. Although the two maids were a little surprised to see Hei Xinjiu, they did not ask much. One of the maids said respectfully, "Miss, this is the pastries His Highness asked us to prepare. Enjoy." After saying that, the two handmaidens left respectfully. Seeing that the pastry on the table was very exquisite, Hei Xinjiu did not have the time to show off and ask Yang Chun Baishue to feed her. She condensed a piece of pastry with her right hand and ate it. Unexpectedly, Yang Chun Baish's eyes turned red and she cried. "Hei Xinjiu, was it necessary? Didn't she just eat a piece of pastry? Did it hurt her so much?" Hei Xinjiu said embarrassedly, "Isn't there still so much? You are too narrow-minded. I risked my life for you. Why can't I just eat a piece of cake?" Chapter 45-56 Strolling in the garden. Yang Chun Baishue shook her head with reddened eyes. "It's not that I can't bear to let you eat it, but it's this pastry." At this point, she was so choked up that she could not speak and started crying again. Hei Xinjiu rolled her eyes. Ever since she met this crybaby, the number of times she rolled her eyes was almost equal to the total number of times she had rolled her eyes before. This little Meme was crying happily, but it also cried when it was unhappy. It seemed that it could not live without crying a few times every day. Hei Xinjiu did not care about her. She picked up another piece of cake and started to eat happily. It was the biggest meal in the world. It was not until Hei Xinjiu finished the whole plate of cake that Yang Chun Baish's emotions finally calmed down. "This kind of cake was invented by my mother herself. Other than my mother, no one else knows how to make it. When I saved the second prince, I once secretly gave it to him to eat. I did not expect. At this point, Yang Chun Baishue choked up again, unable to say a word. Hei Shinjio looked at her speechlessly, but her eyes suddenly lit up. That second prince must have spent a lot of effort to make the same pastry. Could it be that he had already harbored wild ambitions for little Meme? Hei Shinjio could smell the thick scent of treachery and love. She felt that the plan she had mentioned earlier was very feasible. However, she still had to observe and see if that second prince was the right kind of person. However, the two maids Ru Hua and Ji Hua were respectful in every detail. Hei Shinjio felt that the second prince had good taste in choosing servants. Miss Shui, you haven't left the courtyard. The weather outside is nice today. Why don't I accompany you to the garden for a walk? Ji Hua suggested. Yang Chun Baishue was not in the mood for sightseeing, but Hei Shinjio was. She was suffocating inside the house every day. Yang Chun Baishue looked at Hei Xinjia's pitiful eyes and could only nod in agreement. Ru Hua stayed in the courtyard while Ji Hua accompanied Yang Chun Baishue out of the courtyard. Although Lang Mafeng was not favored, he was a prince after all. The courtyard was beautifully decorated. After walking for a while, they arrived at the garden. All kinds of flowers and plants competed with each other. There were even many flowers that only existed in the eastern continent. Yang Chun Baix's mood could not help but improve when she saw those familiar flowers. As for Hei Shinjio, she shamelessly chased after a butterfly and flew around the garden. The corner of Ji Hua's eyes twitched. This Miss Shui's puppet was comparable to His Highness puppet. They were all so unique. Hei Shinjio made the butterfly dizzy and then yawned and hid between Yang Chun Baix's brows. Yang Chun Baishue was also a little tired and said, "Let's go back." Ji Hua agreed and walked back with her. She didn't expect to see a few people walking towards them as soon as they left the garden. Ji Hua cursed in her heart. Why was this person here? However, it was too late to hide. She could only brace herself and bow to the woman in the lead. Ji Hua greets Miss Qinlan. The woman said gently, "No need to be so polite. I believe the person beside you is the Yang clan's young lady who saved the damsel in distress, right?" Ji Hua had no choice but to nod in agreement. Then she said to Yang Chun Baishue, "Miss Shui, this is the second prince's cousin, Miss Qinlan." Yang Chun Baishue nodded to Shu Qinlan, then turned around and was about to leave. There was no other reason. Yang Chun Baishue was very uncomfortable. Her current status was awkward. She was a captive, so she was treated very well. She was also a guest, so she did not plan to chat with Shu Qinlan. Chapter 45-57 came to an abrupt end. Shu Qinlan smiled and said, "Sister Shui, it's fate that we met. I happen to want to go to the garden to admire the flowers. Sister Shui won't not give me this face, right?" Yang Chun Baishue wanted to refuse, but she found that the maid brought by Shu Qinlan blocked the road. She could only say, "It's better to be respectful than to accept. Miss Qinlan, please." Shu Qinlan could not help but reveal a trace of disdain when she saw that she was so easily submissive. She had thought that some vixen had charmed her cousin, but it turned out that she was a dull trash. Ji Hua was a little anxious. Although her cousin appeared gentle and virtuous on the surface, she was vicious on the inside. If she had known earlier, she would not have suggested visiting some garden. What should she do? Ji Hua wanted to go and ask for help, but the handmaidens Shu Qinlan brought kept pestering her and asking questions. Clearly, they did not intend to let her leave. After entering the garden, Shu Qinlan pointed at a cluster of flowers and said with a smile, "Sister Shui, you said that my cousin is also interesting. He insisted on planting those eastern land flowers and plants in this garden. Even if he can barely live, he will die sooner or later if he is not acclimated to the soil and water. Don't you think so?" Although Yang Chun Baishue was timid, after recent events, she had become much more transparent. She understood that Shu Qinlan came with ill intentions, and her words were clearly meant for her to hear. She said faintly, "These flowers and plants are just out of control. If you can choose, I believe that they would prefer to take root and sprout in the eastern continent." Shu Qinlan's voice carried a bit of coldness. "Oh? Out of control? That means that you are at the mercy of others? Pluck those plants that are an eyesore for me. It just so happens that we can make room for the flowers and plants in the Western continent. The people that Shu Qinlan brought swarmed forward, and the flowers and plants that were originally blooming turned into a mess in an instant. Ji Hua dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. Her heart was so anxious that it was almost smoking. Shu Qinlan looked at Yangchun Baixue with a cold gaze. Sister Shuer, did you see it? This is what happens when you covet something that shouldn't belong to you. Yangchun Baixue naturally understood the meaning behind Shu Qinlan's words. She wanted to explain that she did not have any feelings for the second prince, but it just so happened that she was now under the second prince's protection. For a moment, she did not know what to say. When one of Shu Qinlan's maids saw that Yangchun Baixue did not say anything, she walked in front of her arrogantly and said, "Our miss is talking to you, why don't you answer? Are you deaf? Or are you people from the Eastern continent so shameless that you want to covet other people's things? Looking at your cheap appearance, you probably did something shameful in the Eastern continent, so you ran to our Western continent when you had no other choice, right? Your parents are probably not good people either. Otherwise, how could they have given birth to such a shameless bitch like you?" Shu Qinlan's eyes flashed with a glimmer. This was the effect she wanted. She was the one who made the first move. Even if she took the opportunity to beat this bitch to death, her cousin wouldn't be able to do anything to her. The maids behind Shu Qinlan swarmed forward, wanting to take advantage of the chaos to beat Yangchun Baixue to death. Ji Hua wanted to go forward and stop her, but was stopped by two of Shu Qinlan's maids. Ji Hua was so regretful that her intestines were turning green. If anything really happened to Miss Shuer, His Highness would definitely take her life. At this moment, He Xinjiu floated out from between Yangchun Baix's brows and grabbed Shu Qinlan's neck. Then, everything came to an abrupt end. Chapter 45-58. The dog cub puppet He Xinjiu rolled her eyes at Yangchun Baixue. She only squinted for a short while. This poor girl was being bullied. She was really useless. Yangchun Baixue felt that her useless puppet was simply too awesome. One move could eat up the whole world. Although her puppet seemed to only know how to strangle people's necks, it was really useful. Especially when it was about capturing the head of a thief, it was extremely useful. At this time, Ji Hua also took the opportunity to get rid of the two handmaidens. She looked at He Xinjiu in surprise. She originally thought that Miss Shuer's human puppet was a piece of trash, but she did not expect it to be so powerful. Shu Qinlan was so angry that she was about to die. Her plan was flawless, but she did not expect it to be ruined by this slut's puppet. Seeing that her master was restrained, her maids naturally didn't dare to harm Yangchun Baixue. Seeing He Xinjiu winking at her, Yangchun Baixue immediately left with Ji Hua. After He Xinjiu choked Shu Qinlan unconscious, she swaggered after her. When Shu Qinlan woke up, she was almost driven mad. She wanted to break into Yangchun Baix's courtyard, but found that there were many guards around the courtyard, so she couldn't enter. One of Shu Qinlan's maidservants came forward and said, "Miss, there's no need for you to personally deal with that slut. Although the second prince is in closed-door cultivation, his little puppy puppet is still in the courtyard. This maidservant is familiar with the maidservant who is responsible for feeding her. Why don't we encourage that little puppy puppet to come over? I'm sure these guards won't dare to stop us. It would be best if the puppy puppet directly bit that slut to death. Even if it can't, if that slut hurts the second prince's puppet, the second prince will feel disgusted with her." Shu Qinlan felt that her idea was not bad. Although the second prince, Lang Mofeng, was ridiculed for summoning a puppy puppet, the second prince doted on that puppy puppet very much. That puppy puppet could be said to run amok in this mansion. No one dared to stop it, and no one dared to hurt it even a little. If that bitch hurt the puppy puppet, her cousin might even kill her in a fit of anger. Shu Qinlan immediately let the maidservant make the arrangements while she and her people waited nearby for a good show. A moment later, a khaki puppy was carried over by the maidservant. Unlike ordinary puppets, this earthy yellow puppy was a real body. Its two front paws were holding a piece of meat bone and nibbling on it very sweetly. The maidservant placed the puppy at the entrance of the courtyard. Then she said, "Lord Puppet, the humanoid puppet that I mentioned is inside." Her master said that her humanoid puppet is 10,000 times stronger than you. He even said that he would tear you into pieces. The puppy threw away the half-eaten bone and immediately rushed into the courtyard angrily. When the guards saw that it was the puppy, they looked at each other and no one dared to stop it. They just watched as it rushed in. Shu Qinlan, who was watching from afar, revealed a cold smile. Soon, there would be a good show to watch. Ji Hua said to Yang Chun Bai Shue with a bitter face, "Miss Shuer, it's bad. The little tyrant in the residence is here." Yang Chun Bai Shue was stunned. Little tyrant? It's His Highness little puppy puppet. It has always been unbridled in the residence. I don't know why it came to our courtyard. Many servants were heavily punished by His Highness for offending it. Moreover, it's full of bad intentions and likes to play tricks on people. What should we do? Chapter 45-59. Arrogant little tyrant. Before Yang Chun Bai Shue could react to what was happening, she heard an arrogant voice coming from outside the house. "Are you tired of living? How dare you lock me outside? Get out here." Yang Chun Bai's mouth was wide open in shock. That little puppy puppet can talk? Ji Hua sighed. Yes, although its demonic power is very weak, it can speak well. I don't know how it won His Highness' favor, but His Highness is very indulgent towards it. It was also because it could speak and often risked evil water to frame people. It was a true little tyrant. Why did it come all of a sudden? Could it be Miss Kinlan's doing? Although Yang Chun Bai Shue was surprised, she quickly understood. After all, her strange puppet could also speak. It was just that little nine could not make a sound because it had not condensed a physical body yet. At this time, the puppy's impatient voice sounded again from outside. "Are the people inside deaf? Hurry up and get out. Otherwise, this lord will tear down your broken house." Ruhua and Ji Hua looked at each other. In the end, Ji Hua said with an expression that looked like she was ready to die, "This servant will go out and take a look. Although that little tyrant is arrogant and despotic, it is not to the extent of taking a life. It has played enough, so it left." Yang Chun Bai Shue wanted to stop her, but Ji Hua had already walked out. The khaki puppy saw Ji Hua and glared at her. "Why did you only come out? Did you come out to kneel and greet me? Quickly move aside. I want to see who has the guts to tear me into pieces." Ji Hua immediately understood that the puppy was being urged by someone else, so she quickly explained, "Lord Puppet, who did you hear this from? She must be lying to you. Who dares to scold you?" Little puppy rolled its eyes. "Regardless of whether someone scolds me or not, I want to see that human-shaped puppet. Let her play with me." Ji Hua was about to cry. She knew that this little overlord was determined to see Yang Chun and Bai Shue. She could only grit her teeth and say, "Lord Puppet, His Highness said that no one is allowed to disturb Miss Shue. Please leave." The little puppy immediately became angry. "You actually used little Fong Fong to threaten me. Get lost. Otherwise, this lord will tear you into pieces." Ji Hua had no choice but to use her body to block the door, preventing the little puppy from barging in. The little puppy angrily shouted, "You're rebelling. You little handmaiden actually dare to stop this lord. I'll definitely let little Fong Fong beat your ass up." Ji Hua was both embarrassed and angry, but she did not dare to say anything. Ji Hua was stunned, thinking that Miss Shuer definitely did not know the little tyrant's bad temper. If she let it in, it would definitely torture the human-shaped puppet until it dissipated. The little puppy looked at Ji Hua proudly. "Did you hear that? Move aside. The beauty in the room is smart. I will not argue with you on account of the beauty. Otherwise, Ji Hua had no choice but to open the door and let the puppy into the room. Yang Chun Bai Shue looked at the earthy yellow puppy in surprise. She really couldn't associate the little thing in front of her with the arrogant little tyrant. At this moment, the puppy covered its mouth with its front paw and laughed. "You little beauty is so funny. You even have a pair of horns on your head. If you kiss me on the mouth, your horns won't blind my eyes, right?" Yang Chun Bai Shue. Chapter 4560 Lord doesn't remember the puppy Yangchun Baixue was both embarrassed and angry. She suddenly felt that the little tyrant that Ji Hua and the others mentioned was flattering this puppy. This guy was simply a scoundrel. The puppy said to Ji Hua, "Carry me to the chair and let that humanoid puppet come out and dance for my pleasure. Otherwise, I will tear this little beauty with horns into pieces." Ji Hua did not dare to disobey. She carried the puppy to the chair and looked at Yangchun Baixue with a troubled expression. Yangchun Baixue looked at the puppy who was acting arrogantly on the chair and suddenly had an illusion. Why did she feel that this puppy's behavior was very similar to her good-for-nothing puppet? However, her good-for-nothing puppet just let her bring the puppy in, but she floated into her brows. What was the meaning of this? Quickly release your puppet. Is your puppet so ugly that it doesn't dare to meet people? Before Yangchun Baixue could think of an answer, she saw her good-for-nothing puppet float out from her forehead. Then, she saw the puppy that was originally acting arrogantly widened its eyes and fell from the chair onto the ground. The puppy knelt on the ground and used its front paw to slap its own head. "Little fairy, I was wrong. I didn't recognize you. I was talking nonsense. Please spare me. Little fairy, I missed you too much, so I got a crazy disease. You adults don't care about the puppy. Don't lower yourself to my level. Little fairy, we are gentlemen. If you hit me, your hand will hurt too, won't it?" But under the incredulous gazes of Yangchun Baixue and the other two girls, He Xinjiu slapped the puppy away with her right hand, leaving a big hole in the door. A moment later, the puppy rolled and crawled in again. As soon as it came in, it kneeled on the ground and cried, "Little fairy, I really miss the feeling of being beaten. Sob, sob, I'm so touched. Slap me again." Ji Hua. Ruhua. Was this the little tyrant they knew? This was a live pug. He Xinjiu looked at the crying butt-face coldly. This damned butt-face had cried for her help before. She thought it was being abused somewhere, but she didn't expect this guy to be so arrogant in the second prince's residence. Where was the slightest bit of pity? He Xinjiu said to Yangchun Baixue, "Take them and wait outside. They'll catch up with this dog too." Yangchun Baixue was dumbfounded. This little bully was called Dog too? Catch up? Little Jiu knew this little bully? Although Yangchun Baixue was very curious, she still obediently took Jihua and Ruhua out. Ruhua and Jihua were both stunned. Why did this Miss Schwer listen to her puppet? Who was the host and who was the puppet? And why was the little overlord so afraid of that black-faced puppet? Yun Chujiu only looked at Buttface when she saw the three of them leave. Buttface realized that He Xinjiu and Yangchun Baixue were communicating with their lips. He guessed that Yun Chujiu could not make a sound yet, so he said obsequiously, "Little fairy, you don't have to worry. You'll be able to make a sound when you condense your physical body. I was just like you back then. I was wondering why magpies kept chirping today. It turns out that it's a good day for our master pets to meet. It's really a good day for congratulations and celebration." Chapter 4561, Flattery Dog 2. He Xinjiu did not say anything. She floated in the air and stared at Dog 2 coldly. Dog 2 was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind. Stammered, "Little fairy, why you here? Are you here to save me?" "Woo, I knew that the best decision Dog 2, made was to follow Little Fairy. Little Fairy, you are my birth parents and my goddess." Seeing that He Xinjiu still had no reaction, Buttface continued crying, "Little Fairy, I sent you a message to ask for help because I was really miserable at that time. At first, I couldn't condense a physical body nor speak. You didn't know how scared I was at that time. I thought that I would never be able to see you again, Little Fairy." Sob, sob, sob. Upon hearing this, He Xinjiu's anger dissipated a little. Indeed, Buttface suddenly realized that he would definitely be very scared when an ancient fierce beast became someone else's puppet. When Buttface saw that Yun Chujiu's expression had eased up, he continued sobbing. "Moreover, my host was an unfavored prince. Those people often mocked Little Fong Fong because of me. I was afraid that Little Fong Fong would be ruthless enough to kill me with a secret technique and summon a new puppet. At that time, my life was really worse than death. sobbed little fairy. At that time, I wept and trembled every day, hoping that you would come and save me. I was really miserable. Hei Shinjio had always been a protective person. Seeing Buttface crying pitifully, her remaining anger dissipated. She mouthed, "Tell me what happened that day." Although Buttface could not read lips, he could roughly guess what happened because Hei Shinjio spoke slowly. He quickly said, "I didn't know. Little fairy, after that old witch, succubus, crushed that bead, I don't know anything anymore. When I woke up, I was summoned by Little Wind." Yun Chujio frowned. "Where's the big brick?" Dog 2 shook its head. "I don't know where the big brick went either. But since we are reunited, I believe we will find the big brick very soon." Although Yun Chujio was a little disappointed, it was a good thing to find Buttface. She asked Buttface to call Yangchun Baishue in. With Yangchun Baishue as the interpreter, Hei Xinjia's communication with Buttface was much smoother. Buttface rolled his eyes and said obsequiously, "Little fairy, Shu Qinlan must have instigated that little bitch who urged me to come here. I will go and bite that bitch to death to vent my anger on you." Yun Chujio shook her head. Although Buttface was acting all high and mighty in the second prince's residence, Shu Qinlan had a lot of maids by her side, so Buttface couldn't hurt her. Moreover, Yangchun Bakes's position was awkward now, so she could put Shu Qinlan aside. The most important thing now was to make the wolf fall in love with the sheep. "Little Meme," asked Buttface, "is the second prince interested in you?" Hei Shinjio said while blinking her eyes. Yangchun Bakes's face was flushed red. How could she ask? Hei Shinjio had no choice but to use her right hand to dip it in the tea and write on the coffee table to communicate with Buttface. Yangchun Bakes's eyes twitched when she saw Hei Xinjia's dog-like handwriting. This handwriting was really ugly. But why did this handwriting look familiar? Where had she seen it before? "Little fairy, you must have guessed wrong this time. I saw little Fong Fong staring blankly at a portrait. Although the beauty on the portrait has a pair of goat horns, it's a chubby girl. It's not the little beauty in front of me at all." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.